Hey everybody, welcome back to another video. Hope you guys have been enjoying the content on the channel as of late. I literally just recorded this and I just could not finish it, so I am going to just go a little bit faster because, quite frankly, I need to get stuff done in the next like 10 or 20 minutes, so I need to get this done pretty quickly. Um, but, just in case, again, if you hear the noises in the background, that's just because we're outside and all that. Can't control the weather or all that kind of stuff, so, you know, just deal with it. um, but um, hopefully we can get this done. Um, so I wanted to talk about something that just happened just now. This video will be posted obviously 2 days later, so I'm not breaking any news when I say that James Gunn, who is the director of the Guardians films and more notably the Peacemaker show, which I actually did see and I thought it was okay. Um, Him and producer Peter Safran, um, which I don't know what he's done, but I think he's collaborated with Gunn on a couple things. Not sure. Um, they are both going to be co-CEOs for the new DC division, DC Studios, which was originally named DC Films, and they're basically going to be they're Kevin Feige's now. Um, and Walter Hamada originally had that position, but he had just recently had a stepped down from that position for reasons that escape me because I thought he was um, I thought he just got the job like not too long ago, like 3 or 4 years ago. But I guess somewhere in his contracts he stated that after Black Adam that he would just leave. Um, and Pretty sure like Ray Fisher will have something to say about it. Um, but it brings up an interesting conversation in regards to um, actors, filmmakers becoming more in touch with Hollywood business, because it's extremely normal for producers and executives to take up positions like this. So it's someone like Peter Safran wanted to take up or was given this position. It makes a lot of sense because his career lends itself to that sort of thing, and also his what he does for a living. It gives him more credentials and gives WB more confidence in hiring someone like him who is a producer and an executive, all that kind of stuff. So so when you hire on a filmmaker like James Gunn, a very well-known filmmaker, um, it for me it's just for me it just feels highly unnecessary for two reasons. One, this won't last. James Gunn will definitely step down at some point, because when you have someone as popular like James Gunn, who's going to be doing more stuff in the future with other big companies, it's it's inevitable for him to step down from this kind of position because being a CEO of anything or having all this having all these responsibilities handed to you while you're also simultaneously wanting to produce your own work and make your own movies with different companies, it's going to become very, very, very complicated and it's going to be a lot to handle. And I don't think that filmmakers have it in them, or should at all, take up positions like this because being a CEO to something or having ownership over something is not a creative endeavor at all. It is all business oriented, and I don't think that filmmakers or actors because Dwayne Johnson, I heard also had a bit of a say on stuff that happened on Black Adam. I don't think that these kinds of people should be focusing on the business aspects of them. Obviously, if it affects them, like if they are not getting paid correctly or if they're not being treated fairly, then yes, I would say that then they have a say in things. But in any other aspects, I just feel that it's just it's like what's the significance of doing it? I believe for James, he probably believes that, oh, I'm getting to play with all these characters. I'm gonna do this and that, and part of it is, but you're also having to do so much more than that. Meetings, planning out all this stuff. You're gonna have to figure out how to make a consistent timeline within such an inconsistent timeline in the DC franchise as it is. Um, you have to start thinking about profit, how certain movies do this and that. Like it'll take so much character away from a filmmaker when they decide to become basically a producer, you know. Um, so like it just takes away a lot from you than actually giving you. It gives you more of a cynical view of things, and I think that also will affect your stories. Um, and I don't really care for James Gunn, so I don't. For me, it's not like, oh man, I hope this doesn't. I mean, obviously, I hope it doesn't affect any filmmaker when they, go out and do things like this, because it's kind of common for like actors and stuff like that to take on like producer like roles and focus more on a business end of things. But at most times, I always see that their it affects their ability as an artist, and they're just looking at it more as, all right, well, how do I get my say? How do I get my piece? Like, it takes away a lot versus giving a lot, but I really think this won't last. I think that he'll step down like in like a year's time or so, because I think that he's focused more on the artistic side of things, thinking that he can play with all these characters. When at the end of the day, you're gonna have to do more than just that. Um, um, so I think this is just like it's a cute thing. It's cute. It's interesting when actors and filmmakers choose to get involved in such capacities, but inevitably, it always feels like they just kind of drift back to the what they usually do, because they recognize very very quickly that um, that it's not about painting. It's about making money. It's about how do we make profit? How do we do this and that? You're gonna have to go to all these kinds of meetings, sitting with all these kinds of people. It can get very very boring for an artist to sit in a room and talk about statistics and status and all this other stuff. It can get incredibly boring very quickly. Um, so I have doubts. I have doubts that something like this will sit. Um, I think that what something like DC really needs to focus on more is about their structure. How to create a better foundation, because right now it's just kind of all over the place. Or actually be more content with that, because DC as of late has actually been like fairly more interesting than Marvel in my opinion. Now it seems like DC is now becoming Marvel with James Gunn being hiring. It's like a funny thing, um, but because that's also another thing too. I don't want DC to become Marvel either. I want them to stand alone. I want them to have their own distinct style, even if it is the dreariness that was the Zack Snyder universe. I welcome a difference between the two. I won't see either one in the because I've given up on superheroes, but I think it's important to have some kind of distinction. And I think that for DC, what has been working for them as of late is actually being scattered, having these standalone stories. We saw with the Batman that a lot of people enjoyed that. People really enjoyed Joker, and we're getting a sequel to that, even though I think it's unnecessary. Um, we had Black Adam, which didn't do well with the critics, but a lot of people, audience-wise, seem to enjoyed it, and it's making a fair amount of money. Um, so I think that they work well with that when they just do stories. They just they don't try to do a universe. They just do stories, and I feel that DC needs to be more confident in that approach than having to figure out a Kevin Feige of some kind, because that's not really what I think is going to work for DC moving forward. I think that it works best when they just have standalone work, and it doesn't have to try to be all connected in any ways. Um, it doesn't have to be that way. I think that you can operate in a more, how should I say it, a more, like kind of floating around almost. It's like, oh, okay, we'll do a Batman story. Oh, okay, we'll do another Wonder Woman movie. Oh, okay, we'll do a Flash movie. Like doing it kind of like that versus having step one, step two, step three. Like Marvel has that handled. So I would say for them, like, finding their little niche, and I feel that it's been lately with doing standalone films. But for some odd reason, DC just doesn't ever want to take that approach. They always want to build a universe, even though doing so actually put them in such a messy situation, and why they're trying to find people to fill these positions, these CEO positions, and all that sort of stuff. Um, so, um, so, and now they have gone to Marvel, and they've now now they've gotten James Gunn to like help them steer their ship. Um, but I think that that's gonna go away pretty soon, because I don't think James Gunn understands what kind of position he has gotten himself into. But I don't think that filmmakers need to be businessmen. I don't think that that is something that they need to do. Obviously, to an extent, they have to be, but they are artists first, and that's what they should be focusing on always. Focusing on getting their stories made, telling their stories in the ways that they want. Obviously, working with big studios, you're just obviously going to have to cooperate, have to bend the knee to them always, but it should be focusing on the artistic expression always, and leaving all that money and crap, over here. Um, until it affects you, just steer clear from it. At least that's just for me, and that includes actors and all that sort of stuff. Until it affects you, then just focus on on you and not them, or trying to you know put yourself in a certain position or a certain area that you just don't really fit in. So that's my thoughts. I just found it very interesting. I was just like, oh, James Gunn. I don't know how to feel about that, um, but it brings up an interesting question, and I'm curious about what you guys think. Do you guys think that filmmakers should be like getting positions like these, or do you think that they should focus more on their artistic expressions? Um, and do you feel like giving people such control can be damaging, and maybe not as beneficial as the studios think? Because I think that handing someone this kind of power can also just be, it can kind of go against you. So, but um, but you guys let me know. And I was just curious about. I'm not here to talk about superheroes. I'm here to talk about business and filmmaking, and how those two are completely different things. Um, and it just happens to be about Marvel and the DC. So, but uh, but yeah, that's it for this video. You guys let me know your thoughts, and yeah, that's it. I literally recorded this once, and I just have now just had to speed through it. So, um, but thank you guys for watching, and I'll have another video out pretty soon. So make sure you guys check that out. I'll have the next Halloween thing done pretty soon here too. And yeah, that's it for me. So hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will catch you guys in the next video. There goes an airplane, and hopefully you guys can still hear me. So thank you guys for watching. See you guys next time.